How do I keep showing up and making a change even when the way is rough and steep, and I feel like the result is so far off I doubt my abilities to get there? How do I stick with it and not quit even when the progress is slow and small? Well, I'd like to share some thoughts on that in this video. Hey friends, I'm Christina. I'm a nutrition coach, and on this channel, I talk about lean eating skills and the psychology of behavior change without restrictive diets and calorie counting while keeping the fun in life. One of my favorite questions to ask clients on our weekly calls is to list one win every single day. Why do I do this? Well, as you probably have experienced at some point in your life, making a change is hard. When you've been living in a certain status quo, challenging that can bring up some discomfort. So if we can balance that with keeping things that are going well top of mind, even if those things are small wins, it can help propel us forward. Oftentimes, we can have negative thoughts creep in throughout our learning new skills, right? Are you someone who experiences that inner self-critic always pointing out the things you're doing wrong? I know I've personally struggled with this a lot in my life. Most of my clients are dealing with really challenging stuff, like overcoming challenges with binge eating, changing their entire relationship to food and their bodies. And most of them have lots of things going on in their lives outside of that, so it can be really easy to get stuck in the negativity of things that are hard and things we still haven't mastered yet. I really like the wording I heard one coach use that I've started utilizing with my own clients. She says, "What are you most proud of yourself from this last week?" That puts a slightly different ring to it, right? So when asking this question, basically I hear one of two responses to this that might sound a little bit like resistance. The first one is, but I don't have anything to be proud of myself this week. I didn't fill out my tracker, I binged a bunch, I didn't work out, and I didn't get anything done. It's at this point that we can get really curious about what's going on and find some wins from that week. Sometimes it can be simple as, I went to bed at a reasonable hour to give my body the rest it needs. Or I showed up to this call when I really wanted to cancel. It happens. The other form of resistance I hear from clients about praising themselves or being proud of small accomplishments is this question of, if I praise myself for the small stuff, isn't that just like letting myself off the hook or something? It doesn't feel worthy of being proud of. Now, it can sometimes be tough to find wins if clients are having an especially challenging week. Some weeks can be more difficult than others to find wins, but it's a really important practice, and we can always find something, even if it isn't related to eating skills. This practice really helps to support your resolve to continue to make this change. For example, if I try to cook a new recipe, I want to celebrate that because ingredients are expensive and it takes time. There is some mild risk involved because what if I don't like it? So what I would like to do is say, I'm really proud of myself for branching out and trying something new. One of the things I told myself I wanted to do this year was practice cooking more variety of foods, and I really stuck with it. Even though some of them didn't turn out to be ones I'd ever try again, I still tried. The inner self-critic might immediately start up and say, yeah, you tried to cook, but nobody seemed to like it, and you overcooked that chicken, so it was dry. This used to happen almost automatically for me. Yikes. Instead, I'm going to practice celebrating the win and seeing it as something for which I am proud. So many of us experience that inner self-critic, or just see this mountain of challenges from our week that it can be difficult to spot the silver lining or things that are going well. That's why I love this practice of starting off our calls with what went well this last week, or what is something that you are proud of yourself from this last week. One of my favorite authors and artists, Scott Erickson, puts it this way: when we're trying to be journey rather than destination focused, it can be helpful just to say, you know what, I may not have arrived, but I'm on my way. It is vital for us to just keep swimming. This can be especially helpful for those who struggle with the all or nothing mindset. One of my clients who has been trying to reintroduce an exercise habit into her life was struggling to even get to the gym, but then she just started praising herself for any little movement she could get in, whether it was a walk, a 15-minute workout instead of her usual 45 minutes. And at the end of the week, she was able to get multiple 15-minute workouts in a few times a week instead of the previous week where she wanted it all and ended up not getting any movement in. So I asked her, what made the difference for you? She shared it was just the praise she was giving herself just for showing up. Recently, I went on a trip with some friends, and I had to stay behind at our Airbnb while they were exploring, and I needed to meet up with them. Well, we were in a big city, and I'm not accustomed to navigating in my own city, let alone a foreign one. I also don't have a ton of experience with public transit, but I was wanting to take on this challenge of navigating to meet up with them, even though I was nervous to do so. Well, long story short, I got all turned around, went the wrong way on the subway, got lost, had to call them, and we eventually got connected and it all worked out. But at first I was disappointed that I couldn't do it. But then I reflected and decided I'm actually really proud of myself for even trying. I could have just stayed behind or taken a taxi, but I tried. So what I'm really talking about here with asking about what went well this past week is positive reinforcement. This is why you will hear me talk about celebrating wins no matter how small they are. Positive reinforcement is when we want something to be repeated, we reward that behavior. So we celebrate. We celebrate the wins, even on the crappy weeks. We might do this by way of a happy dance, a pat on the back, sharing it with a close friend, or here's an idea, why not posting something you're proud of right here in the comments? I would love to read them. You could even start your own thread on your social media platforms and see what kind of infectious positivity you can start up. I dare you to do it. We can all cheer each other on. So, what are you most proud of yourself from this last week? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.